Let me go! Imani's voice cracked as she yanked her arm, but his grip only tightened. Relax. Marcus Whitmore's breath was hot against her neck. No one will find out. The storage room door was locked behind them. She'd heard the click. Her heart hammered so hard she could barely breathe. Please, Mr. Whitmore, just let go of me. You've been teasing me for months. His other hand grabbed her waist, pulling her against him. Walking around in those tight uniforms, bending over right in front of me. No. Stop. She tried to twist away, but he had her pinned against the metal shelving. Cleaning supplies rattled and fell. Come on, sweetheart. You black girls always play hard to get, but we both know what you really want. Imani's knee shot up hard between his legs. As he doubled over with a grunt of pain, his grip loosened just enough. She shoved past him, fingers fumbling desperately at the lock. You bitch! He grabbed a fistful of her hair, jerking her head back. She screamed. Loud. Piercing. The sound bounced off the concrete walls. His hand clamped over her mouth. Shut up! I will destroy you, you understand me? I'll make sure you never work in this city again. Imani bit down. Hard. Tasting blood. He jerked back with a yelp, and her shaking fingers finally got the lock turned. The door flew open and she ran, not looking back, her vision blurring with tears. Behind her, she heard his voice, sickeningly calm. You're going to regret that, Imani, I promise you. Her legs carried her down the hallway, down the stairs, not stopping until she crashed through the women's locker room door on the first floor. It swung shut behind her, and she collapsed against it, sliding down to the cold tile. Her whole body shook. She pulled her knees to her chest, pressing her hands over her mouth to muffle the sobs that were tearing out of her throat. She couldn't breathe right. Gasping, choking on air. The door handle rattled. Imani, you okay in there? Keisha's voice, sweet, reliable Keisha from the morning shift. I'm fine, the words came out broken. Girl, you're not fine. I heard you screaming from down the hall. I'm coming in. The door opened slowly. Keisha's dark eyes went wide when she saw Imani crumpled on the floor. Mascara streaked down her face, uniform disheveled. Oh my God! What happened? Who did this? Marcus! The name felt like poison. He locked me in the storage room. He tried to... Her voice shattered. Keisha was on her knees beside her in an instant, strong arms wrapping around her shoulders. That son of a bitch. I knew he was trash. I knew it. She rocked Imani gently. Did he hurt you? Did he... I got away. I fought him off. Imani's hands were still shaking violently. But Keisha! He said he'd destroy me. He threatened... Listen to me. Keisha gripped her shoulders, forcing eye contact. You need to report this right now. Go to HR. Patricia Lawson handles this stuff. Tell them before he spins. Some story. You have to. Imani nodded, wiping her eyes with trembling fingers. You're right. I should go now. Want me to come? No, I need to do this myself. She stood on unsteady legs, using the lockers for support. Thank you, Keisha. Don't thank me for basic decency. You go get that bastard. Keisha squeezed her hand hard. I got your back, whatever you need. If you're already hooked, smash that subscribe button right now because this story takes turns you won't see coming. Drop a comment telling me what you think happens next. The walk to HR felt like walking to her execution. Each step echoed too loud in the carpeted hallway. The elevator mirrors showed a haunted face she barely recognized. Red marks bloomed on her wrist where he'd grabbed her. Evidence. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, took 3 tries to get a clear photo. Patricia Lawson's door stood open. The HR director sat behind her desk typing, gray hair pulled into a tight bun. She looked up when Imani knocked. Imani, what can I... Patricia's expression shifted. My goodness, are you all right? You look pale. Sit down. Imani sank into the chair. The words stuck in her throat like glass. Take your time, dear. Patricia pulled out a notepad, voice gentle. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together. Marcus Whitmore assaulted me. Imani forced the words out. Just now, third floor storage room. He locked the door. He grabbed me. He tried to. She couldn't finish. Patricia's pen stopped moving. Her face went carefully blank. That's a very serious accusation, Imani. It's not an accusation. It happened. Imani thrust her phone forward, showing the wrist photo. Look, he grabbed me. I screamed. I had to bite him to escape. I see. Patricia wrote something down. Did anyone witness this? No. He made sure we were alone, but Keisha heard me scream afterward. And there are security cameras. You can check the footage. It'll show him following me in and locking the door. Of course we'll investigate thoroughly. Too professional. Too smooth. I need you to write everything down. Every detail. Then go home and rest. This must be traumatic. Something felt wrong. What about Marcus? He's still here. He threatened me. We'll handle Mr. Whitmore appropriately, but these things require proper investigation. Due process. Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. You understand. Imani spent the next hour writing out every horrible detail, hand cramping from gripping the pen so tight. When she finished, Patricia took the papers with a sympathetic expression. You've been very brave, Imani. We take these matters extremely seriously. I'll be in touch soon. Now go home. The dismissal was clear. Imani left on unsteady legs. On the T-ride to her Dorchester apartment, her phone buzzed. Maya. How's work? Finish that management paper. Imani stared at the text. How could she tell her baby sister? Maya was junior year at BU, studying psychology, still believing the world was fundamentally fair. Another text. Jinwoo. Dinner tonight? Making bulgogi, your favorite. Her heart clenched. Jinwoo. What would she tell him? 2 years together. Engaged 14 months. He was powerful, connected, ruthless in business. The kind of man who solved problems by crushing them. If she told him what Marcus did, she wasn't sure she could control what happened next. But he loved her. Really loved her. The way he listened about her classes, rubbed her feet after long shifts, held her when she cried, missing her parents. She texted back. Not feeling well. Can I come over anyway? Just want to be with you. Immediate response. Of course. I'll take care of you. Come whenever. Imani sat on her couch for an hour, gathering courage. Finally, she changed out of her uniform, threw it straight in the trash because she couldn't stand looking at it, and took an Uber to Jinwoo's Back Bay penthouse. The doorman waved her through. The elevator rose too fast. Then Jinwoo's door opened, and there he was, concern already carved across his face. Imani, what's wrong? You look... He pulled her inside, hands gentle on her arms. Talk to me. She meant to say it calmly. She really did, but the moment she opened her mouth, everything poured out in a broken rush. Marcus Whitmore attacked me today. He locked me in a storage room and grabbed me and tried to force himself on me, and I had to fight him off, and Keisha heard me screaming, and I reported it. But Jinwoo, he said he'd destroy me, and I'm scared. Jinwoo's entire body went rigid. His hands tightened on her arms. Not painful, but she felt the tremor running through him. When he spoke, his voice was deadly calm. He put his hands on you. Not a question. Yes. It came out as a sob. Where? His jaw clenched. Where did he touch you? My wrist. My face. He tried to... She couldn't say it again. Jinwoo stepped back, ran both hands through his hair. She watched him. Struggle for control. His eyes had gone dark. Dangerous. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to find that piece of shit and I'm going to... No! Imani grabbed his arm. Jinwoo, please! That's exactly why I was afraid to tell you. I need you here with me, not in jail for murder. He looked at her. Really looked. And some of the fury softened into anguish. He hurt you. That bastard put his hands on you and you expect me to just... I expect you to help me get justice the right way. Her voice strengthened. I need you, not your rage. You. He pulled her into his arms, holding so tight she could barely breathe. But she didn't care. His chest heaved against her. I'm sorry, he whispered into her hair. God, Imani, I'm so sorry this happened. You should never have gone through that. Never. He pulled back, cupped her face. You said you reported to HR? Patricia Lawson. She took my statement, said they'd investigate. Something flickered across Jinwoo's face. Patricia. Lawson has worked there 15 years, protected 3 different managers from misconduct complaints. She's not going to help you. How do you know that? Because the Azure Crown is mine. He said it quietly. Part of Platinum Hospitality Group. I own the whole chain, Imani, 47 hotels across the East Coast. The room tilted. What? I never told you because you were so determined to make it on your own. You didn't want special treatment. I respected that. But Imani, that means I have resources. Real resources. We can bury this guy so deep he never sees daylight. I don't want revenge. I want justice. Real justice. I want him prosecuted in a courtroom where everyone can see what kind of monster he is. Jinwoo nodded slowly. Then that's what we'll do, but we do it smart. Airtight. No chances for him to weasel out. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling my attorney. Actually, 5 attorneys and a private investigator. If HR tries to sweep this under the rug, we'll have documentation of everything. What if they fire me? That job pays for school. My scholarship only covers tuition. They're not firing you. His voice was steel. And if they try, we'll sue them into oblivion. But Imani, promise me something. What? Don't go back to that hotel. Not until this is resolved. I can't. His voice cracked. I can't let you be near him again. Please. She wanted to argue, but the thought of seeing Marcus again made her skin crawl. Okay, I promise. Jinwoo made calls for 3 hours. Imani sat on his couch wrapped in a blanket, watching him pace and talk in rapid Korean. She caught fragments. Lawyer, evidence, criminal charges, his mother's name. Finally, he sat beside her. My legal team will be here tomorrow morning at 8, best in Boston. We're getting the security footage tonight before anyone can claim it disappeared. And I called the police commissioner. He's a friend. He's making sure a detective gets assigned immediately. Jinwoo, that's a lot of power being thrown around. It is. He took her hands. And I won't apologize for using every advantage to protect you and get you justice. But this isn't just about power. It's about doing things right. By the book. We document everything, preserve every piece of evidence, build a case so strong he can't walk away. A knock at the door. Jinwoo checked the security camera, then opened it. A small Korean woman in an elegant pantsuit swept in, eyes immediately finding Imani. Iyama, Jinwoo said, I didn't expect you tonight. You call me at 7 and say someone hurt your fiancé. You think I wait until tomorrow? His mother crossed to Imani and sat beside her, studying her face. Then she pulled Imani into a hug, speaking in accented English. You are my daughter now. In our family, when someone hurts one of us, they hurt all of us. You understand? Imani's eyes filled with tears. Yes, Mrs. Park. Call me Omayonim, or Yama if comfortable. Archer gripped Imani's shoulders. My son will want to burn the world down for you, but you are smart. You want justice, not revenge. This is good. This is right. We help you get justice. That night, Imani slept in Jinwoo's bed while he worked in his office. She could hear him on the phone, voice low and intense. She drifted in and out, startling awake at every sound. Around 3 a.m., he finally came to bed, pulled her against him, pressed his lips to her temple. I've got you. He whispered. I promise. The phone rang at 6:30. Unknown number. Imani almost didn't answer. Miss Washington? Patricia Lawson from Azure Crown HR. Imani's stomach dropped. Jinwoo, making coffee in the kitchen, looked over sharply. Yes? I'm calling to inform you that after thorough investigation of yesterday's incident, we've determined your allegations against Mr. Whitmore are unfounded. However, during our investigation, several irregularities came to light regarding your own conduct. The world stopped. What are you talking about? You've been falsifying time cards, Miss Washington. We have documentation showing you clocked in for shifts you didn't work. Additionally, there are theft reports from the supply closet. Several $100s of cleaning products and linens missing under your supervision. That's a lie? I never. Furthermore, we have witness statements from multiple employees describing inappropriate behavior toward Mr. Whitmore. Sexual advances he repeatedly rebuffed. When he finally addressed your behavior yesterday, you became hostile and made false accusations. Imani couldn't breathe. No, that's not what happened. Patricia, you know, your employment is terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you from the premises if you attempt to enter. Your final paycheck will be mailed. Don't bother applying for unemployment. We'll contest it based on theft and misconduct. The line went dead. Imani stared at her phone, unable to process what just happened. Jinwoo was beside her instantly. What did she say? They fired me. Her voice broke. Said I was stealing. Said I was sexually harassing Marcus. Said I made it all up because he rejected me. Those lying? Jinwoo's face went dark with fury. Okay, this is actually good. Good? How is this good? Because they just committed 5 different crimes in one phone call. Wrongful termination, retaliation, defamation. This isn't covering their asses anymore, Imani. This is going all in to protect a predator, which means when we prove what really happened, the entire organization goes down with him. Make sure you're subscribed because what happens next will blow your mind. Hit that like button if you're rooting for Imani. At 8 o'clock, Jinwoo's penthouse filled with people. 3 lawyers, 2 private investigators, a crisis management consultant. They set up in his dining room with papers and laptops. The head attorney, a sharp-eyed woman named Rebecca Chen, led the meeting. First things first, Rebecca turned her laptop around. We got the security footage last night before they could delete it. And Imani, you were right. It shows exactly what you said. On screen, Imani watched herself walking down the hallway with supplies. Then Marcus appeared from around a corner. The timestamp showed 10:47 a.m. He looked around before following her into the storage room. The door closed. It stays closed for 7 minutes, Rebecca continued. Then you come bursting out, clearly distressed. Running. Marcus comes out 20 seconds later, straightens his jacket, walks calmly in the opposite direction. Can you see inside the room? Imani asked. No cameras in storage areas, but this footage, combined with your statement, the marks on your wrist, and the pattern we're about to establish, it's enough. Pattern? One of the investigators, former cop Mike Rodriguez, spoke up. We ran background on Marcus Whitmore. 6 different hotels in 12 years. Want to guess how many he left under mysterious circumstances? All of them. 5 out of 6, at each one, whispers. Complaints that went nowhere. Women who suddenly quit or transferred. We started making calls last night, found 3 women willing to talk about what he did to them. Imani felt sick. 3 women? And he just kept moving hotel to hotel? That's how predators work, Rebecca said. They don't get fired. They get quiet severance packages and glowing recommendations so companies can make the problem disappear without admitting liability. Then they do it again somewhere else. How many women has he hurt? At Azure Crown alone? We don't know yet, but we're about to find out. Rebecca leaned forward. Jinwoo is about to do something very public. Ready for that? Imani looked at Jinwoo. He'd been quiet through most of the meeting, but now he met her eyes steadily. What are you going to do? I'm going public with my ownership of Platinum Hospitality. Right now, it's held through LLCs and corporate structures. Most employees don't know I own the company. But he checked his watch. 2 hours, I'm holding a press conference. I'm announcing my ownership, announcing you're my fiancé, explaining exactly what happened, and ordering an independent investigation into every hotel in the chain. That'll destroy your privacy. The media will be all over us. I don't care about privacy. I care about making sure this never happens to anyone else. His voice was fierce. But Imani, this is your story. I won't tell it without permission. If you want this kept quiet, we can pursue justice privately. It's your choice. She thought about those 3 women who talked to investigators. How many more might be out there, too scared to come forward? She thought about Keisha, Sophia, every woman who'd ever walked past Marcus Whitmore and felt his eyes crawling over them. Do it, she said. Tell the truth. All of It. The press conference was held at Jinwoo's corporate headquarters at noon. Imani watched from upstairs, Rebecca beside her. On screen, Jinwoo stood at a podium, looking directly into cameras. My name is Jinwoo Park, and I'm the owner of Platinum Hospitality Group. I'm here because yesterday, a man who works for my company attempted to sexually assault my fiancé, Imani Washington, in one of my hotels. When she reported this crime through proper channels, she was fired. Her attacker remains employed. This is unacceptable. The room of reporters erupted. Jinwoo held up a hand. I take full responsibility for creating a culture where this was possible. I own these hotels. I hired the executives who hired the managers who protected this predator. That ends today. I'm announcing a complete overhaul of our HR practices, safety protocols, and reporting structures. I'm also calling on any other employees who've experienced harassment or assault to come forward. You will be protected. You will be believed. Your abusers will be held accountable. By 2 o'clock, Jinwoo's statement had gone viral. By 3, the Azure Crown was swarmed with news vans. By 4, the first former employee called the tip line with her own story about Marcus Whitmore. Carmen Rodriguez worked at Azure Crown 3 years ago. Marcus cornered her in the laundry room, tried to force himself on her. When she reported it, she was fired for poor performance. Too scared to fight it. She was 19 and on a work visa from Guatemala. 4:30. Michelle Carter, front desk clerk, 2 years ago. Marcus assaulted her after her shift. She reported to Patricia Lawson. Patricia offered $5,000 and an NDA. Michelle signed because she needed the money. 5:15. Jennifer Wu, housekeeping supervisor. Marcus raped her in his office 4 years ago. She went to police. They said it was, he said, she said, and declined to pursue charges. She quit and moved to New York. By 6 o'clock, there were 9 women. 9 stories spanning 8 years, all describing the same pattern. Same predator. Same system protecting him and destroying them. Imani listened to their stories with tears streaming down her face. Rebecca sat beside her, taking notes, building the case. This is enough, Rebecca said quietly. More than enough. At 7 that evening, Boston police arrived at Marcus Whitmore's Newton home with an arrest warrant. Charges: attempted sexual assault, criminal harassment, witness intimidation, retaliation. News helicopters caught footage of him being led out in handcuffs, face pale with shock. Imani watched it happen on live television, Jinwoo's arm around her shoulders. It's not over, she said. No, he agreed. But it's a start. The arraignment happened 3 days later. Marcus Whitmore pleaded not guilty. His attorney, slick corporate lawyer David Patterson, told the press this was a witch hunt, motivated by a jilted woman's revenge. Fantasies. That same afternoon, 3 more women came forward. Then 2 more, then another, 15, 20, 23. Jinwoo called an emergency board meeting. Imani sat in the corner watching as he addressed 12 board members via video. Patricia Lawson is fired effective immediately, Jinwoo said. So is the entire Azure Crown executive team. Every manager, every supervisor who knew what was happening and did nothing. Gone. We're conducting independent investigations at all 47 properties. Any employee who's been harassed, assaulted, or retaliated against will receive full back pay, benefits, and legal support. One board member, older white man Gerald Hutchins, spoke up. Jinwoo, with respect, the liability we're exposing ourselves to is astronomical. This could bankrupt the company. Then let it bankrupt us, Jinwoo said coldly. I'd rather lose every penny than run a company that protects rapists. Anyone who disagrees can submit their resignation. I'll sign it immediately. No one resigned. The investigation expanded. Across 47 hotels, 93 complaints came in during the first 2 weeks. 93 stories of harassment, assault, coercion, retaliation, some recent, some years old, some involved Marcus. Most involved other managers, other predators allowed to operate unchecked. Imani met with prosecutors twice weekly. They were building their case methodically. Video footage, medical records showing wrist bruises, testimony from Keisha, and now 23 other women. The defense will try to make this about you, lead prosecutor Assistant DA Sarah Chen warned. They'll dig into your past, your relationship with Jinwoo, claim you made this up for money or revenge or attention. You need to be ready. I'm ready, Imani said, but her hands shook. The trial started 4 months after the assault. The courtroom was packed. Media filled the gallery. Imani sat front row between Jinwoo and Rebecca. Maya flew up from school. Jinwoo's mother sat on his other side, gripping her son's hand. Marcus Whitmore sat at the defense table in an expensive suit, looking calm, confident. Like this was just an unfortunate misunderstanding that would be cleared up shortly. The prosecution's case took 3 days. Sarah Chen methodically laid out evidence, security footage, timeline, injuries. Then she called witnesses. Keisha testified first. I heard her screaming from down the hallway. When I found her in the locker room, she was shaking so hard she could barely talk. Her wrist had these dark red marks. She was terrified. Carmen Rodriguez testified next. Through tears and an interpreter, she described what Marcus did 3 years ago. I thought I was going to die in that laundry room. I thought he would kill me if I kept fighting. So I stopped fighting. And when it was over, I reported it, and they fired me. Said I was lying. Michelle Carter, Jennifer Wu. One by one, the women told their stories. The jury listened. Some had tears in their eyes. Then it was Imani's turn. She walked to the witness stand on legs that felt like water. The bailiff swore her in. Sarah Chen approached with a gentle smile. Miss Washington, can you tell us what happened on the morning of March 15th? Imani took a breath. Then she told her story. All of it. The locked door. Marcus's hands. His threats. The fear. Fighting back. Running. And when HR fired you, how did you feel? Betrayed. Terrified. Like the whole system was designed to protect him and destroy me. Like no matter what he did, he was going to win because he had power and I didn't. The cross-examination was vicious. David Patterson tried everything. Implied she'd made it up for money, questioned why she didn't immediately call police, suggested the relationship with Jinwoo was suspicious, insinuated she was a gold digger who'd fabricated everything. Sarah objected repeatedly. The judge sustained most objections. But Patterson kept pushing. Isn't it true, Miss Washington, that you only reported this alleged assault after learning Mr. Park owned the hotel? No. I didn't even know Jinwoo owned the hotel when it happened. But you knew he was wealthy, powerful, and you knew if you could convince him someone hurt you, he'd use that power on your behalf, correct? Objection. Sarah was on her feet. Counsel is testifying. Sustained. Mr. Patterson, ask questions, don't make speeches. But damage was done. Imani saw some jury members frowning, uncertain. The defense's case was thin. Character witnesses for Marcus saying he was a good man, devoted employee, pillar of the community. His ex-wife testified he'd never been violent with her. His pastor said he was a regular churchgoer. Then, Patterson made a mistake. He called Patricia Lawson. Sarah Chen smiled. She'd been waiting for this. Ms. Lawson, you've worked in HR at Azure Crown for 15 years, correct? Yes. In those 15 years, how many sexual harassment complaints have you received about managers or supervisors? Patricia hesitated. I don't recall the exact number. Let me refresh your memory. Sarah held up a thick folder. We subpoenaed your files. 87 complaints in 15 years. Of those 87, how many resulted in the accused manager being fired? Silence. Ms. Lawson, how many managers were fired for sexual harassment during your tenure? 2. 2 out of 87. And how many of the accusers were fired or forced to resign? Patricia's face had gone pale. I don't know. 64, Ms. Lawson. 64 women lost their jobs after reporting harassment. But you only fired 2 men. Does that seem like a functioning system? Objection! Patterson was shouting. Beyond the scope. Your Honor, defense opened the door by claiming the HR investigation was thorough and legitimate. I'm entitled to explore Ms. Lawson's pattern. Overruled. Answer the question, Ms. The Lawson. Patricia looked at Marcus. Then at the jury. I was following company policy, doing what I was told. Who told you to fire Miss Washington? It was a collective decision. A collective decision that occurred within 3 hours of her reporting a crime? That's remarkably efficient. Tell me, when you fabricated those theft allegations, did you feel any guilt? I didn't fabricate anything. Really? We have inventory records. Nothing was stolen. The time cards you claimed were falsified? We have security footage showing Miss Washington entering and leaving exactly when she said. Every single accusation you made was a lie. Isn't that correct? Patricia started crying. I was trying to protect the company. Marcus said she was unstable, that she'd made advances and he rejected her. I believed him. I was wrong. God help me, I was wrong. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, every single one looked at Marcus with disgust. On the charge of attempted sexual assault, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of criminal harassment? Guilty. On the charge of witness intimidation? Guilty. Imani felt Jinwoo's hand tighten around hers. She heard Maya sob with relief. Jinwoo's mother murmured something in Korean that sounded like a prayer. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge gave Marcus Whitmore the maximum, 15 years, mandatory sex offender registration, and a scathing statement from the bench. Mr. Whitmore, you used your position to prey on vulnerable women for years. You targeted those with the least power to fight back. You weaponized systems meant to protect employees and turned them into tools of oppression. Your actions have caused immeasurable harm. This sentence reflects not just what you did to Miss Washington, but the pattern of predation you've inflicted on dozens of women over nearly a decade. Marcus showed no emotion as he was led away, but Imani saw his hands shaking. Outside the courthouse, Imani stood with Jinwoo, facing a wall of cameras. How do you feel about the verdict? A reporter called. Relieved, Imani said. But this was never just about me. 23 other women had their voices heard today. 64 women who lost their jobs for telling the truth. Countless others who never came forward because they knew the system wouldn't protect them. This verdict is for all of them. What's next for you? She looked at Jinwoo. They talked about this, planned for it. We're going to make sure this never happens again. But getting justice in court was only the beginning. The real battle was about to start. 8 months after Marcus Whitmore was sentenced, the real work began. Jinwoo came home one evening to find Imani surrounded by papers, laptop open, furiously taking notes. What's all this? He asked. Numbers. She looked up, fire in her eyes. Do you know how many workplace sexual assault cases get reported each year in the hospitality industry? Alone? 23,000. Want to guess how many result in convictions? Tell me. Less than 2%, Jinwoo, less than 2%. We got justice because we had resources, money, lawyers, connections. What about everyone else? He sat beside her. What are you thinking? I'm thinking one predator in prison isn't enough. I'm thinking 23 women getting heard isn't enough. Her voice grew stronger. I want to build something. A center, free legal representation for workplace assault survivors, counseling, evidence preservation, immigration support. Everything we had access to, I want to make it available to everyone. Jinwoo smiled. Then let's build it. The planning was intense. They assembled a team, trauma-informed therapists, employment lawyers specializing in assault cases, immigration attorneys, victim advocates, and most importantly, survivors. I want to work there, Carmen Rodriguez said when Imani called her. I want to help other women like us. Me too, Michelle Carter said. Count me in, Jennifer Wu added. Keisha quit her hotel job on the spot. Been waiting for you to ask. They found a building in downtown Boston. Glass and steel, but designed to feel welcoming. Soft lighting, comfortable furniture, private consultation rooms. a legal library, a therapy wing, meeting spaces. The funding came from multiple sources. The assets seized from Marcus's conviction, Jinwoo's foundation, an endowment from Platinum Hospitality Group, and donations that started pouring in once word spread about what they were building. But 2 weeks before the scheduled opening, disaster struck. Imani got a call from their head contractor. "Miss Washington, we have a problem. The building inspection failed. They're saying we need to redo the entire electrical system. We're talking 6 months of delays and $500,000 in additional costs." Imani felt her stomach drop. "That can't be right. We had everything inspected before we started renovations." "I know, but the city inspector is insisting. And there's something else." The contractor's voice dropped. "I heard him on the phone. He mentioned the Azure Crown case. I think someone's trying to sabotage this." Jinwoo made calls. Within 2 hours, they had proof. The building inspector had received a payment from a shell company connected to the Azure Crown's former parent corporation. They were trying to stop the center from opening. "They're terrified," Rebecca Chen said during an emergency meeting. "A center like this, providing free legal services to assault survivors? It's their worst nightmare. Every hotel chain, every corporation with a harassment problem, they want this to fail." "Then we'll make sure it doesn't," Jinwoo said coldly. "Rebecca, file complaints with the State Ethics Board and the DA's office. I want that inspector's license pulled and criminal charges filed. Mike, I need you to find out who else is involved, and I want names." Investigation moved fast. The corrupt inspector flipped within 48 hours, gave up 3 executives from the Azure Crown's former management and 2 city officials. All of them were arrested within a week. The story made national news. Powerful corporations trying to silence assault survivors by sabotaging a support center. Public outrage was immediate and massive. Donations flooded in. $1 million in 3 days. $2 million by the end of the week. Construction companies offered to do the electrical work for free. The mayor personally came to the site to apologize and fast-track all necessary permits. "They tried to stop us," Imani told a crowd of reporters outside the building, "and instead, they showed the world exactly why this center is necessary. They're not just afraid of survivors getting justice. They're afraid of survivors having power." The center opened 1 month later, exactly as scheduled. Imani stood in front of the glass and steel building. Jinwoo, beside her, holding oversized scissors for the ribbon cutting. Behind them, a crowd of survivors, supporters, and press. "When Marcus Whitmore attacked me," Imani said into the microphone, "I was lucky. Lucky to have someone who believed me. Lucky to have resources most survivors don't have. Lucky to get justice when so many don't. But luck shouldn't determine whether someone gets help. Whether they're believed, whether they're safe." She gestured to the building. "This center exists because justice isn't enough. Putting one predator in prison doesn't fix a broken system. It doesn't heal trauma. It doesn't protect the next person. So we're building something new." Jinwoo took the microphone. "The center offers free legal representation for workplace assault survivors, free counseling with trauma-informed therapists, evidence preservation assistance, immigration legal support, economic assistance while pursuing cases, workplace safety training, and something else." A voice. Imani. Cut the ribbon. The doors opened. Inside was bright, welcoming space designed specifically to feel safe. Everything funded by seized assets, Jinwoo's foundation, and the Platinum Hospitality Endowment. The staff was carefully chosen. Keisha ran survivor advocacy. Sophia headed immigration legal services. Carmen worked intake. Jennifer managed counseling. All survivors, all determined to make sure others didn't suffer what they'd suffered. But the real test came that first day when the doors opened to the public. The first person through was a young woman, maybe 20, trembling and crying. "My boss has been assaulting me for 6 months," she whispered to Carmen at the intake desk. "I'm on a student visa. He says if I report him, he'll have me deported. I don't know what to do." Carmen took her hand. "You're safe now. We're going to help you. You're not alone anymore." By the end of day 1, they'd seen 47 people. Day 2, 63. By the end of the first week, They had a waiting list. Don't go anywhere because what happens next will show you the real power of survivors fighting back together. Make sure you're subscribed and drop a comment about what change you want to see in your workplace. In the first month, 247 people walked through those doors seeking help. Each one with a story, each one needing support. But one case in particular showed Imani why this work mattered. A woman named Lisa Martinez came in 3 weeks after opening. She was a hotel housekeeper, like Imani had been. Her manager had been sexually harassing her for 2 years. She'd reported it multiple times. Nothing happened. Finally, he'd assaulted her in a guest room. When she reported that, she was fired for entering a guest room without authorization. "I can't afford a lawyer," Lisa said, crying in Imani's office. "I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom. I can't fight him. He's going to win like they always win." Imani took her hands. "Lisa, look at me. He's not going to win. We have lawyers ready to take your case right now, free of charge. We have therapists who can help you process the trauma. We have childcare assistants so you can come to appointments. We have everything you need to fight this." "And you're going to win." Lisa stared at her. "Why? Why are you helping me?" "Because 5 years ago, I was you. I was a housekeeper who got attacked by my boss. I got fired for reporting it. The only difference is I had resources you don't have. But that's not fair. Everyone deserves the same chance at justice I got. That's why we built this place." They took Lisa's case. Within 3 months, her attacker was arrested. Within 6 months, he pleaded guilty. Lisa got a settlement that let her go back to school. 2 years later, she graduated with a degree in social work and came back to volunteer at the center. "I want to help other women like me," she said, "like you helped me." The cases kept coming. The center won 52 workplace assault cases in the first year. 18 predatory managers were fired or prosecuted. 67 survivors received visa extensions or protections when employers tried to use immigration status as leverage. Over 300 people received ongoing therapy. But the opposition grew fiercer too. Corporate lawyers started attacking the center in the press. "They're encouraging frivolous lawsuits," one attorney told a business journal. "They're destroying careers based on unsubstantiated allegations." Then came the real attack. A major hotel chain filed a lawsuit against the center, claiming they were violating attorney-client privilege by sharing information between cases. It was a transparent attempt to shut them down by drowning them in legal costs. "They're scared," Rebecca said during an emergency board meeting. "We've cost them millions in settlements. We've gotten 17 managers arrested this year alone. They want us gone." "How much will it cost to fight this lawsuit?" Imani asked. "Conservatively, $3 million. Maybe more." The room went silent. They didn't have $3 million in legal defense funds. Then Jinwoo stood up. "I'll cover it. Every penny. And when we win, we're countersuing for malicious prosecution and using every dollar we get to expand the center." They fought the lawsuit for 8 months. It was brutal. Depositions, discovery, motions, counter motions. The hotel chain's lawyers tried everything to find something, anything to discredit the center's work. They found nothing because the center had been meticulous. Every case documented, every procedure followed, every ethical standard exceeded. When the judge finally dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice and ordered the hotel chain to pay the center's legal fees plus damages, the courtroom erupted in cheers. The settlement was $7 million. They used it to open 3 more locations: New York, Philadelphia, Chicago. The model was spreading. Other cities wanted centers. Other survivors wanted to help. The movement was growing beyond anything Imani had imagined. 1 year after the center opened, Imani and Jinwoo planned their wedding. They wanted it to be a celebration, not just of their love, but of the community they'd built together. The ceremony took place on a warm October afternoon at the Boston Public Garden. Traditional Korean elements blended with African American traditions. Imani wore a dress incorporating hanbok-inspired design in rich jewel tones. Jinwoo wore traditional Korean hanbok for the ceremony, then changed to a Western suit for the reception. The ceremony started with traditional Korean payebek. Imani and Jinwoo bowed to Jinwoo's parents. His mother and father, dressed in traditional hanbok, accepted Imani into the family with formal blessings. When Jinwoo's mother placed her hands on Imani's face and said in English, "My daughter, my brave, beautiful daughter," there wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. Then came the Western ceremony. Maya walked Imani down the aisle. At the altar, Imani and Jinwoo exchanged vows they'd written themselves. Jinwoo went first. "Imani, when I first met you, you were helping an elderly guest carry her bags even though it wasn't your job. You saw someone who needed help and you helped them. That's who you are. When the worst thing happened to you, you could have hidden. You could have stayed silent. Instead, you became a voice for thousands of people who needed one. You took your pain and transformed it into purpose. You're the strongest person I know, and I'm honored to stand beside you, not behind you, not in front of you, beside you, as partners, today, tomorrow, forever." Imani's hands shook as she held Jinwoo's. "Jinwoo, you taught me that accepting help isn't weakness. You showed me that power should be used to lift people up, not hold them down. When I needed you most, you didn't try to fight my battles for me. You gave me the tools to fight them myself. You believed me when the world said I was lying. You stood with me when it would have been easier to walk away. You're my partner, my love, my home. I choose you today and every day after." They ended the ceremony with traditional African American jumping of the broom, symbolizing sweeping away the old and welcoming the new. As they jumped together, the crowd erupted in cheers. The reception was a fusion feast: Korean barbecue next to soul food buffets, kimchi and collard greens, bulgogi and fried chicken. Guests moved between traditional Korean fan dances and stepping routines. The survivors from the center were scattered throughout. Carmen danced with her new boyfriend, a kind teacher. Michelle sat with her daughter, now in college thanks to settlement money. Jennifer gave a toast about the power of community and second chances. But the moment that made Imani cry was when Keisha stood to speak. "I've known Imani for 3 years," Keisha said. "I've watched her go through hell and come out the other side stronger. But you know what she never lost? Her kindness. Her determination to make things better not just for herself, but for everyone. When she could have focused solely on her own healing, she built a center to help others heal. When she could have walked away from an industry that hurt her, she stayed to fix it. Imani, you're not just my friend, you're my hero. And Jinwoo, you better take care of her, or you'll have about 2,000 very angry survivors to answer to." Everyone laughed. Jinwoo raised his glass. "I wouldn't dare do otherwise." As the night wore on, Imani and Jinwoo found a quiet moment on the balcony overlooking the garden. Celebration sounds drifted from the reception hall. "Are you happy?" Jinwoo asked softly. Imani leaned against him. "I'm happy, scared sometimes, sad sometimes when I think about everything that happened. But happy, is that weird?" "No, it's human." He kissed her temple. "You know what I think about?" "What?" "All the people we haven't met yet. All the survivors who'll walk into the center next year, or the year after, or 10 years from now. All the lives that will be different because you refuse to stay silent." "We," Imani corrected, "because we refuse to stay silent. I couldn't have done this alone." "Maybe not, but you would have found a way. That's who you are." He turned her to face him. "Mrs. Park," she smiled. "I'm keeping Washington Park, actually. Decided this morning. Perfect. Absolutely perfect." They kissed as fireworks erupted over the garden, a surprise from Jinwoo's events team. Through the French doors, they could see their friends and family dancing, celebrating, living. 3 years later, the center had expanded to 8 locations nationwide. They'd helped over 12,000 survivors, won hundreds of cases, changed laws, saved lives. But the fight was far from over. A new challenge emerged that threatened everything they'd built. A powerful senator, backed by corporate lobbyists, introduced federal legislation that would severely limit workplace harassment lawsuits. The bill would cap damages, shorten statute of limitations, and require mandatory arbitration, essentially making it impossible for most survivors to get justice. This will destroy everything we've built, Imani said, reading the proposed bill in horror. Mandatory arbitration means survivors can't go public. Damage caps mean settlements won't be enough to make corporations change behavior. Shorter statute of limitations means survivors who need time to come forward will be shut out completely. Then we fight it, Jinwoo said. We take this fight to Washington. They organized, mobilized survivors from all 8 centers, reached out to advocacy groups nationwide, built a coalition of voices that couldn't be ignored. Imani testified before Congress. She stood at that podium, looking at senators who held the power to help or harm millions of survivors. My name is Imani Washington Park, she began. 5 years ago, I was sexually assaulted by my boss. I reported it and was fired. I was lucky enough to have resources to fight back. Most survivors don't. The center I run has helped over 12,000 survivors. We've seen firsthand what happens when survivors have access to justice. We've also seen what happens when they don't. She looked directly at the senator who'd sponsored the bill. This legislation isn't about protecting businesses from frivolous lawsuits. It's about protecting predators from accountability. Every provision in this bill makes it harder for survivors to come forward, harder to get justice, harder to heal. And the corporations backing this bill know that. That's exactly why they want it. The hearing room erupted. Survivors in the gallery stood and applauded. Security tried to restore order. Imani continued, I'm asking you to vote no on this bill. I'm asking you to stand with survivors instead of corporations. I'm asking you to choose justice over profit. Because if this bill passes, the message you're sending is clear. Power matters more than people. Money matters more than safety. Silence matters more than truth. The bill failed. Barely. But it failed. The victory energized the movement. More centers opened. More survivors came forward. More predators faced consequences. If you believe survivors deserve justice, smash that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you think corporations should be held accountable. Comment with #BelieveSurvivors to show your support. But Imani knew the work was never really finished. There would always be another predator. Another corporation trying to protect its image instead of its employees. Another survivor who needed help. On the 5th anniversary of the center's opening, they held a gala fundraiser. The ballroom was packed with survivors, supporters, donors, allies. Imani stood at the podium, looking out at faces she knew, and faces she'd never met. 5 years ago, I stood outside this center on opening day and said that luck shouldn't determine who gets help. Today, I can tell you that because of the work we've done together, luck matters a little less. We've helped over 15,000 survivors. We've won over 200 cases. We've changed laws in 8 states and 3 countries. We've trained over 10,000 HR professionals. We've created a model being replicated around the world. She paused, emotion catching in her throat. But the number I'm most proud of is this. We've never turned anyone away. Not once. If you walk through our doors needing help, you get help. No matter who you are, where you're from, how much money you have, or what happened to you. You get help, because that's what we promised, and that's what we deliver. The room erupted in applause. Jinwoo stood in the front row with their daughter Grace, now 3 years old, on his hip. Tears streamed down his face. Beside him, his mother dabbed at her eyes. Maya cheered loudly. The original 23 survivors stood together, holding hands. After the gala, Imani and Jinwoo walked home through Boston Common. Grace had fallen asleep in Jinwoo's arms. City lights reflected off the pond. Do you think we've done enough? Imani asked quietly. Enough for what? To make up for what happened. To balance the scales. Jinwoo stopped walking, shifted Grace to one arm, took Imani's hand with the other. Imani, you don't have to make up for what happened. You didn't do anything wrong. You were attacked. You survived. Everything you've done since then, you've done from strength, not obligation. I know. Logically, I know. But sometimes I still feel like I'm trying to earn the right to have moved on. You're allowed to be happy just because you're alive. The center is incredible. The work matters, but you matter too. Just you. Imani, my wife, Grace's mom, the woman who burns toast every Sunday and cries, at dog videos and sings off key in the shower. You don't have to earn that. You just get to be that. Imani leaned her head against his shoulder as they walked. How did I get so lucky to find you? You didn't. You fought like hell to survive. You told the truth when it was dangerous, and you built something meaningful from pain. That's not luck. That's you being extraordinary. The center's work continued, year after year, survivor after survivor. Some cases made headlines. Most didn't. But every single one mattered. Marcus Whitmore was denied parole in year 7. He would serve his full sentence. The women he'd hurt had submitted impact statements. The parole board read everyone. They saw the pattern. They understood the depth of harm. Patricia Lawson had tried to get another HR job. No one would hire her. Her name was too associated with the scandal. Sometimes she thought about apologizing to Imani, but she never found the courage. The Azure Crown Hotel had been completely renovated and reopened under new management with the center's safety protocols as foundation. They hired Carmen as their head of employee relations. Her first day, she stood in the storage room where Marcus had attacked Imani. They'd turned it into a supply closet with glass walls. No locks, no privacy, no places for predators to hide. The ripple effects continued spreading. Other industries started adopting the center's model. Tech companies, law firms, hospitals, universities. Anywhere people worked, the center's influence spread. 10 years after the assault, Imani stood in that converted room with a documentary crew. They were making a film about the center's work. The director asked the question everyone asked. Do you ever see yourself as a victim? Imani thought carefully. I was victimized, that's a fact. Marcus Whitmore committed a crime against me. But victim isn't my identity. Survivor is, and more than that, advocate is, mother is, wife is, director is. I'm a lot of things. What Marcus did is part of my story, but it's not the whole story. Not even close. What would you say to other survivors watching this? Imani looked directly into the camera. I'd say you're not alone. I'd say it wasn't your fault. I'd say you deserve to be believed, to be safe, to heal. I'd say that speaking up is the bravest thing you can do, but staying silent doesn't make you weak. Everyone's journey is different. Whatever you need to survive, to heal, to move forward, that's valid. And if you need help, we're here. The Imani Washington Center is here. Survivors are here. You're not alone. The documentary premiered at Sundance. Won awards, sparked conversations, drove thousands more survivors to seek help at centers around the world. Grace Washington Park grew up surrounded by stories of courage. By age 10, she started her own initiative at school, a peer support group for kids dealing with bullying or family problems. She called it Brave Voices, after her mom's work. She's so much like you, Jinwoo told Imani, watching Grace lead a group of 5th graders through a sharing circle. She's like both of us, Imani corrected. She's got your strategic mind and my big heart. Dangerous combination. The best kind. 15 years after the center opened, they held a massive anniversary celebration. Survivors came from around the world. The keynote speaker was Carmen Rodriguez. She stood at the podium, no longer the scared 19-year-old who'd been too afraid to fight back. Now she was 34, a social worker with her own practice, married with 2 kids. 15 years ago, Marcus Whitmore assaulted me, Carmen said. Her voice was steady, strong. I was young and scared and on a work visa. When I tried to report it, I was fired. I thought that was the end. I thought I'd have to live with that pain forever, with no justice, no acknowledgement, no healing. She paused, looking at the audience. Then Imani Washington refused to stay, silent. She fought back. She built this center. And because of her courage, I found mine. I came forward. I testified. I got justice. But more than that, I got a community. I got therapy. I got legal help. I got my life back. Carmen's voice broke slightly. I'm not going to say that what happened to me was okay, because something good came from it. It wasn't okay. It will never be okay. But what I will say is that because of this center, because of Imani and Jinwoo and everyone who believed us and fought for us, we didn't have to carry that pain alone. We got to transform it into something meaningful, and that matters. The standing ovation lasted 5 full minutes. That night, lying in bed beside Jinwoo, Imani thought about the girl she'd been 15 years ago. 28 years old, attacked in a storage room, so scared and alone. If she could go back and talk to that girl, what would she say? You're going to survive this. You're going to fight, and it's going to be hard, but you're going to win. Not just for yourself, for thousands of other people. You're going to build something beautiful from this pain. You're going to fall in love and get married and have a daughter. You're going to change the world. You're going to be okay, better than okay. You're going to be extraordinary. But she couldn't go back. None of them could. All any survivor could do was move forward, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one brave moment at a time. The Imani Washington Center continued its work, year after year, survivor after survivor. Life after life changed, because one woman refused to stay silent, because one man chose justice over revenge, because a community came together and said, enough, because courage is contagious, because healing is possible, because survivors deserve to be believed, to be safe, to be heard. Subscribe if you believe survivors, like if you think this story needed to be told. Comment with what gives you courage to speak your truth. Together, we're building a world where safety isn't a privilege, it's a right. Where justice isn't luck, it's a guarantee. Where survivors aren't alone, they're surrounded by community. The Imani Washington Center. We believe you. We've got you. We're not going anywhere.